record. As you guys can tell, I'm not super formal today. I'm not in the studio. This part back there and all studioed out. That's because I'm in roll-up sleeves and work mode today. So we're not going to get too fancy with our training here today, but there are a couple things that I want to kind of get a conversation going around, but I also want to spend a little bit of time getting some questions from you guys, see where you guys are at. How many of you guys are kind of shifting that focus and really starting to get prepped and planned for January 1st? I know most of you guys were on the webinar last week. How many of you guys have already taken action on anything from that webinar? I know Chris and Sal did, because they reached out to me almost immediately to set up a time to discuss some stuff for their things. But has anybody else started taking action, filling out that worksheet, putting some thought to some things, putting a plan together? I see Ken shaking his head. Yes, that's good. Lorraine, what's this?
How about a recap? I wasn't available.
Well, then I guess you're gonna have to wait until is it not next week, the following week.
This is cashing in on the royalty, Shawn. Now, right now. This is it.
Tuesday, December 27th. Mark your calendars. I'll be revamping and sending some stuff out, but Tuesday, January, Tuesday, December 27th at 6 p.m. Eastern. 6 p.m. Eastern time, I will be rerunning the webinar based on registration and who's planning to attend. And once we launch that webinar, if it's a bulk of the same people, I'll kind of revise that and get a little bit more hands-on. If it's a batch of people that didn't even see the first one or watch any of the recordings. And Lorraine, if you really want to catch up ahead of time, reitoolbox.com/webinar-replay. You can watch the recording of it.
Chris got me.
But yeah, we'll be rerunning that. And then those of you that were on last week on that webinar, that's going to be your opportunity to really get on again and refresh, catch anything, but ask some more pointed questions, because you should be working on the plan, which is also something that you can do today as well. Okay. With that being said, quick announcement and update. Next week, there will not be a call on Wednesday. We're taking kind of next week down as our Christmas timeframe. I will be traveling and actually back in Ohio at that point. So there won't be any formal call on Wednesday next week, but right after Christmas, we'll be right back to it. We're just going to take the one Wednesday off. Okay.
Is that 6 p.m. on Tuesday? Is that Eastern time or Pacific time?
What on Wednesday?
On Tuesday next week, you said.
No, it's Tuesday, Tuesday, December 27th, 6 p.m. Eastern time will be the next rerun of the 2023 marketing plan webinar.
Okay, thank you.
I'll probably be sending some registration stuff out to get registered for the webinar again first of next week. Possibly even as early as tomorrow. I need to make a couple changes on a few things and then I can fire that back off. Okay. So that before we get too deep, because there is something that Kim brought up today that she sent me a message about something. I told her we can go a little bit deeper on it on the call, because I think it would be beneficial for some of you guys. But I want to first go to the floor and open it up and see, does anybody have anything specific, any questions? We've been going over a ton of stuff as of late. And if you're kind of focusing to 2023, now's a really good time to get some questions answered or get some ideas, or, hey, I've got this thought. What do you guys think of that? Kind of thing. So I'm going to open it up to the floor first and see what you guys have. Does anybody have anything specific?
Are we able to ask questions about, like if I had my meeting yesterday and I had questions concerning that meeting, or is it only the marketing part that I could ask questions on?
Ask away. If it doesn't necessarily fit, I'll guide you a different way. If it does, we'll go deep into it and people can get some value out of it.
Okay, so I was looking at the gave me that Calendly REI.com site to go on. And so I registered for that. And he told me it was like the free account, which is I went onto the free account, but I'm still kind of baffled how to still make it work. I mean, later for people to make appointments with me, the time spans to block it off.
Oh, so you're talking about creating a calendar on Calendly.
Correct, correct.
Yeah. You
Correct.
need to go through and set it all up. So my suggestion would be do some YouTube research, find some videos that are out there where somebody's walking through setting up Calendly.
Okay,
Because that ties to your calendar. You have to build it all, set the settings, all that kind of stuff. And then it'll give you a link. And that's the link that you can use to tell people to go to book a call with you.
Right. Okay. That's
Our
fine.
lead vault system has all that built in. We don't actually use Calendly anymore.
Okay. Thank you.
But yeah, I guarantee if you go to YouTube and type in Calendly, you're going to find a plethora of videos of people showing you how to set up a Calendly account. Anybody else, anything specific before I shift us into what Kim asked?
Is that the same webinar that you already did on the marketing plan, Shawn?
Yeah,
Or
that's what I was
is it
saying.
different?
We're rerunning it a second time. I'm probably going to end up running it 2 more times. I'm going to run it one more on December 27th, and then I'm probably going to run it again sometime in January to kick off the year, because it really is a very important practice, in my opinion, to pre-prep your year and really get clear on the marketing goals for the next year based around the income goals and everything else that you're trying to do, right? 99% of the time, the reason we get to an end of the year and our business isn't where we want it to be, it's because we didn't really set a clear picture at the start of the year to know where we were going. We just kind of wung it all year long, hoping that we made it. So some of it will be refresher, Segal. Others parts of it, I might change it a little bit. And again, I'm going to be basing it on names that I see registering compared against names that registered the first time. If it's a predominant crowd of people that have already watched it once, then I'm going to change some things and spend more time going deeper on stuff than talking about some of the other stuff that doesn't necessarily need to be rehashed. Okay. Anybody have that was on last week? Anybody have anything specific about the webinar that you want some help with or guidance? Okay. All right. So then with that, Kim, if you wouldn't mind, would you like to unmute and just kind of give everybody the skinny on what you asked me? And then I'll kind of take it from there and break down my answer a little bit more in depth. And I'm going to share the screen on some things too.
Sure. I mean, I guess it falls right in line with kind of what we did last week, because my my avatar is pre-foreclosures, and I have a pre-foreclosure timeline for Chicago. So I kind of asked you how can I incorporate that onto our pre-foreclosure landing page? What type of format should I use? And you suggested making it a lead magnet.
Mm-hmm. So let me open up one thing over here. And all right. Share the screen. But first off, let me make you guys bigger over here. Everybody understand, just give me a quick thumbs up. Everybody understand what Kim's asking, right? She's got this pre-foreclosure timeline. There's a lot that goes on during the foreclosure process. You know, before you technically get all the way deep into this thing, it's really kind of considered the whole pre-foreclosure piece. There's a lot of different steps around it. If any of you guys have ever dealt with the foreclosure or somebody that's kind of just creeping into the foreclosure period, there's different options that they have at different times. There's certain things that they should probably be doing to try to stall it and stop it and these type of things, right? We're all in agreement with that, yes? So what Kim had sent over, I'm not going to share it on here, but what she had sent over is basically just a quick Word doc that was, day this is kind of what happens, day this is what's kind of happening. And she's trying to figure out what to do. And immediately my mind went exactly to what Chris and Sal did when they were out here back in whatever that was, May, at the event, right? When you guys created the probate process timeline. And really, this is nothing more than what Kim just said. It's a lead magnet. Now, this is their probate page, right? And they've got a couple different probate resources that they've now gone on to kind of create multiple different ones of this, but one of them being that probate process timeline, which is the same thing that you're trying to create, Kim. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to create that into more of a resource guide. So think PDF version, checklist that's saved as a PDF, something like that. And some of the pieces that I gave to Kim was take it and elaborate a little bit on it. Don't just say, hey, day 30, this is what happens, but also expand a little bit and say, at this point, here's some options that you would have. Here's some things that you could be doing to try to rectify the situation, to try to make it a little bit easier for you, right? Going through this whole thing, kind of expand and elaborate each phase point, what there is, but then you want to end it with a strong call to action that's saying, hey, we're here to help. And the phrasing or the wording that I gave Kim was, reach out to set up a time to talk to one of our foreclosure. Let me actually pull up your message so I read it exactly, because I thought it was pretty good myself. Set up a time to speak to one of our foreclosure avoidance experts. Notice I didn't say set up a time to talk to me, give me a call, right? Call us, we can do this. I'm really and correct me if I'm wrong, but Kim, that would be you, right? That they'd be setting a kind of time up with. But the phrasing, right? Set up a time to speak to one of our foreclosure avoidance experts. Now, that's just creation of the lead magnet itself. And we want to gate that because that's attractive. This probate process timeline, Chris, Sal, you guys can tell me, like, people actually download this. They actually give up when they click here and go to this. They actually give you this information and download it and get it, correct? And this has turned into some pretty viable leads for you guys, yes?
100%. Yeah, that's the most popular one.
And you guys have the couple, but I know that this is one that, why? Because the probate process is so confusing and most people don't know it, just like the pre-foreclosure process and the timelines around foreclosing and the foreclosure aspects. It's confusing. Not everybody knows this, right? So if I'm in that situation, that would be something attractive that I would see. But we can't just create it and expect, okay, we have it on our website, they can go get it, and people are just going to naturally just go get it, right? We've got to actually drive traffic to this. This is what becomes a major component of our marketing now. So a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about the last few weeks, really building a campaign. Kim, you tell me, do you have a list of pre-foreclosure potentials? Or could you get a list of people that are potentially in the foreclosure, pre-foreclosure periods?
Yeah.
So that's the start of our campaign right there, the avatar. We have the list, or could get our hands on that list of people. So what would I do once I have this created to really make it a tool for me and not just something I wasted a bunch of time and plopped on the website? Well, I could take that list and I could build a multi-touch, multi-campaign, right? Multimedia, multi-touch. You heard me talk about this a lot. Campaign over an 8 to 10 week span off that list. So I'm going to speak from what I know of Kim and Onyx and what the tools that they have at their disposal. They're on our Lead Vault premium platform. So they could take that list, they could load it up into Lead Vault, and they could, and I'm going to stop sharing so you guys can see me more. They could take that list, upload it into Lead Vault, create a list, right? A smart list inside there of those people. And then they could build an automated workflow that they can eventually, once this is ready to go, assign them over to it. In that automated workflow, there's probably going to be a series of over 8 to 10 weeks. If they're going to do this as an 8-week or 10-week campaign, there's going to be probably a series of emails, text messages, and points of that workflow where we're going to do some maybe cold calling to them. Email, text message. What do you think my main call to action would be around this? It's going to be all about, are you confused about the foreclosure process? If so, here's a link to our pre-foreclosure checklist. Not call me, not this other stuff, right? Maybe deeper into the campaign as we get closer to 6, 7, 8, 10 touches, I start throwing the, or just give me a call in there. But early on, it's going to be putting some information out there, sending them a message, email, text, whatever the case. Even if I cold call them. Hey, Chris, this is Shawn with Onyx Homes. Just trying to give you a call today. Wanted to see if a resource that we just got put together, blah, 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 blah. Would it be beneficial if I could send you a checklist of exactly how to avoid the foreclosure process, or some things that you should be considering if you're stuck in this hamster wheel of going through foreclosure? Something like that, right? The other piece, and this is the multi-touch multimedia that I feel like we miss. When I say we, I'm talking about real estate experts are missing, is how many of you guys remember when I had Dave Carroll on from Dope Marketing with the direct mail automation platform? I would 100% be launching an 8 to 10 week direct mail campaign against that list. I bought the list. If I get my hands on a list that I know is pretty dang good, these are people that are somewhere in this phase, 30, 60, 90 days, typically that pre-foreclosure period, right? I want to be launching a direct mail campaign on top of this outreach campaign that I'm doing, that I can automate a big portion of that, and I can automate the whole direct mail piece. I'll share the screen and go back to Dope 360 and show you what I mean there. I can automate that. So I've got some direct mail hitting their mailbox. I've got text, phone calls, these type of things randomly getting out to them. But then if you really want to go to the next level and really take multi-channel, what I like to call omnipresence marketing, you take that same list, and there's a series of ways that we like to upload that into Facebook and upload that as a custom audience in Google Ads. And we can serve up banner images, and we can serve up some different Facebook ad campaigns around this list. So now I'm taking this one list, and you see how I'm attacking it from multiple different fronts. And I'm going to run this across 8 to 10 weeks off that list. And I'm going to try to get something to stir up out of that, try to get some things into my pipeline, right? Now, we can go even deeper than that. Still off of that same list, not only am I dropping banner image ads, Facebook, Instagram style ads against it, but I can also drop very specific YouTube style ads. A lot of these platforms also allow us to create what's called custom audiences and lookalike audiences. So I can upload this data and then tell these platforms to also serve this up to people that look just like this person. Now, pre-foreclosure, a little bit harder to maybe go off the lookalike of it, but based on maybe some parameters, kind of play with that one. But you guys see how I'm building an asset now, and I'm using the asset as a tool, launching a true omnipresent campaign. And why I call it the campaign is because it's going across 8 to 10 weeks. I'm not just launching a single tactic at it. Is this making sense? Quick thumbs up. Thoughts, comments, questions on this?
Where would you interject, like, or put a YouTube video at this point? Like
YouTube for this, we wouldn't actually attack the list itself on the YouTube video side, but what I would attack is I'd be looking for the ad, because YouTube, when we start playing with YouTube ads, it gives me the ability, we can actually select channels that we want our ads to run against. So maybe I find a bunch of highly trafficked foreclosure attorneys, bankruptcy attorneys, these type of things. I can run those against that. And we're actually experimenting right now. YouTube's changed their ad platform just a hair, which is actually giving us a little bit more flexibility because I have two different styles of YouTube ads that we can run now. You have how many of you guys have been on YouTube as of late? And you can see that like some ads you can skip and some ads you can't. Well, the can't ones, if your ad is 15 seconds or less, it can get served up into those areas, which is an extra 10 seconds of ad time. Because the skippable ads, they can skip after 5 seconds. So your skippable ads have to be like super hooky to get them to stick past 5 seconds, or they tend to click the skip piece. Now, what YouTube's done is if they skip it right after the 5 seconds, you actually don't pay for that impression. It's once they get a little bit deeper into, and I forget what YouTube's actual metric is, there's a certain point, and then you actually get charged for that impression. But the non-skippable ones that you get, you're paying for every impression on it, but that's 10 seconds extra that I get. And if we target it just right, we're increasing the likelihood that the person seeing that is actually a viable candidate around it. The point of all of this, though, is to understand all of this is stemming off of one thing. Kim got her, she's got this timeline, and she's like, what can I do with this? Well, I just built in no time flat a very solid campaign that could go against this one asset. And this is something that you can keep repeating for 8 to 10 weeks. It's off this set of data. Well, over that 8 to 10 weeks, something's going to happen. People are going to opt out of your text and these type of things, right? We can start to scrub down the list that way. Other people are going to reach out to you. You're going to start getting some things in your pipeline. You're going to want to take them off that list, because we're not going to continue to market to them if I'm into a pipeline process with them, right? So after 8 to 10 weeks, you kind of scrub down your list. You look at the data. You maybe go get another set of data, and we launch it again. Or through the 8 to 10 weeks, you start to see where there was some hiccups, where we might want to change some things. This worked, but this didn't work. Refresh it, relaunch. Another 8 to 10 weeks, repeat the process, right? But all of it's driving centric around, you've got some resources. So like for Chris and Sal, insert probate process timeline, remove foreclosure timeline, same exact strategy, right? Whatever the avatar is, that style campaign can get hit like crazy around it. Now, organic, because a lot of that stuff that I talked about, there's money involved. There's money involved in mailings, right? There's money involved in serving up the ads. There really isn't money involved in the call, text, that kind of stuff, depending on your platform, that kind of thing. You've got, in this case, most of you guys have the premium edition of Lead Vault. That's all built in. Yes, you're paying for the text messages, but you're talking a couple pennies for that, right? What else could I do to help drive traffic at this? Well, I bet, Kim, you could sit down and off of that one set of timeline, you could probably find 10, 12, 15 commonly asked questions around the foreclosure process. Organically, now I can attack it from this angle. I start shooting video. There's my YouTube video for the week. I'm going to answer this question this week, this question next week, this question next week. There's a YouTube video that can go up. I optimize it on search for YouTube, because if they're going through this process, I guarantee you they're also over on YouTube, probably searching, trying to find some answers, which is why I was saying serve up YouTube ads, right? Maybe they stumble around my, go ahead, Kim.
I already started breaking down FAQs, like writing them down.
Yep.
So a YouTube video for each. Gotcha.
So you shoot a YouTube video. You take that same video and you write a blog around it, and you pop that video on the blog side, and you optimize that. So now we're optimizing on the search side. GBP post. Take that same video and post it as a GBP post with a little different caption. Now we can do that, right? Social media on your organic Onyx Homes page. That one video off that one question can turn itself into an arsenal of assets organically. And we do that for 10, 12, 14 of them. But the catch is, at the end of all of those, it's not just call me. It's, hey, for more about this and more on the foreclosure process or the pre-foreclosure timeline, head here. Some places we put an actual link. Other places, maybe we tell them the URL. Other places, the link's in the description, right? But it's like, we've got this resource, go get it. Because as Chris just said a little bit ago, some of the hottest leads are the ones that go and fill this out. If they're willing to go get this, put their name, phone number, email in to download that resource, there's a high probability that they're actually in that situation. Because I don't know too many people that are going to be like, oh, that was pretty interesting. I'm not in foreclosure, but I wonder what Kim's trying to push out there. I wonder what this pre-foreclosure process is. I highly doubt people are doing that, right? So when we get those people coming through that form, that's a hot lead. We do this. I have this checklist running, and I get maybe, I don't know, 5, 6, 8 of these a month coming through. We used to run a big Facebook campaign against it, but I'm running a Facebook campaign against something else right now. But this right here, the ultimate marketing checklist for real estate professionals. I just got one in yet. It came in late last night. Somebody downloaded it. They're already on my calendar for like 3 weeks from now. Because once they download it, it goes to a page where it talks about, hey, you want some help implementing this? You want to see what this would be like if we help to implement it in your business for you? Go ahead and schedule time on my calendar. Well, the fact that they downloaded this, however they got to it, from all different ways that we drive traffic at this thing, they're a viable person, right? Coming in. Thoughts or comments on that before I'm going to share and kind of go back to what I was talking about with the direct mail stuff. Anything from anybody? Either you guys are catching everything, or I just talked over top of all of your heads and you're like, I don't know how to implement any of this.
Trying to absorb all of it.
So now's your time. What questions do you have to help it absorb, Sal?
So I guess the question is, I like the idea of the multi-touch with a particular client, a group of clients from a list that you have, and attacking them from different areas. I guess the question I have, and I'm probably going to get the answer tomorrow, is how do you coordinate all that? So, you know, because that's a lot of, that's for novices like myself and Chris, that's a lot. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot. The biggest thing is on the ad side of the house. All right, because we could blow money really fast with ads if we get locked in, especially on Google. If you're running a not so much on a display campaign, you can't burn too much money too fast. There's still the slight possibility. And here's what I mean by that. Google, YouTube ads tend to run a lot off of keywords. Now, when we serve these things up, we're targeting against very specific keywords that make sense for the campaign, that's going to have the audience, that kind of stuff. Well, if we get trapped into, and when I say trapped, sometimes Google doesn't understand, especially in real estate, they don't understand the difference between real estate agent, real estate investor. So somebody that's just really the ideal candidate to just talk to a real estate agent and look for, you know, just the traditional way of selling, there's keywords around that Google sees it as just, it's a real estate keyword. This is probably a good keyword. And they start serving our stuff up. Well, that's not the ideal person for us. Right.
Right.
So, but they do give you the ability to mark keywords as not good versus good. Like, I like these ones, but don't do these ones. So that's where it becomes a lot And that's where like Mike on our team, who runs our PPC campaigns for us and our clients and that kind of stuff, he's in those things every single day. And he's looking at those keywords and he's paying attention. And if he catches one of those, marking that as a, hey, don't use this one, Google, so that we don't get burned out on money off a bad keyword. That's where probably the bulk of it is. And what we see is it takes a good 30, 45 days to really build a strong list of keywords for the campaign, which is why I tell you, it's got to be like an 8 to 10 week campaign, because it takes time to build this and get it solid. Facebook, same thing. Facebook's going to really come down to the audience and the audience size. I'm running a campaign right now that you would think, holy crap, you should be getting a ton off of it. But the audience size is like 7.9 million people that I'm running this against. Well, it's actually too big of an audience. My impressions are way down because the potential pool to put it in front of is too big. All right, I'm not as targeted, and the amount of money I'm spending on the ad a day, it's too big of an audience. I can't get enough impressions against that, right? So it's going to come down to the list. How much data do you actually have to do this? And there's sweet spots for that makes sense on there. Also play in there's sweet spots on to build a really good lookalike around it. There's sweet spots from retargeting. That would be another piece to this whole campaign. I would take a Facebook pixel from your Facebook ad account, put it on the opt-in page for the checklist. So in Kim's case, that just like you guys had, it goes to a page and it's just there with a button. That I'd have a pixel in the back end of that basically Facebook could pick up that Sal was on that page. Well, next time you jump on Facebook, guess what ads you start getting served?
Mm-hmm.
Kim's, if you got to that page but you didn't get to the conversion page,
Mm-hmm.
then guess what? You're going to start seeing those ads. That's the ad retargeting. Same thing with our postcard retargeting. I'd have that built into the back end of this, where I'd put that on there and, hey, anybody that gets to that page but doesn't opt in, if we can match a mailing address, then go ahead and fire another postcard at them from the retarget standpoint that's got a QR code on that postcard, trying to get them back there to download the checklist or download the resource guide or whatever it is. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So yes, Sal, there is a lot to coordinate and there's a lot going on. But once you kind of get the campaign built, then it's just a matter of managing the campaign. And obviously this is what we do. That's why we've got a team for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be really hard for a lot of you guys to go and execute this at a high level on your own. But this is what really generates leads. Not just, oh, I've got a website and you're writing a blog or two for me. Oh, I got a website and I wrote a blog last, month. It takes time to ramp to this, but when you're here, you guys can see like a lot of this ends up becoming automated. This is why you don't end up having to do so much of the hamster wheel marketing, because a lot of this stuff's working for you in the background when you sleep.
Right.
And I use the phrase, it's chasing. It's chasing my prospects for me.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to be the thinker at the front end, design it, right? What am I trying to achieve? What's the end result? Work back off of that, build a campaign around it. And then I can go from there, right? So for those that maybe weren't around back, I posted something. I love the video, by the way. Did anybody watch the video I posted in the Facebook group today? The Dave's latest reel. Chris, you saw that? I saw the thumb.
Yeah, with the mailbox and football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many of you guys remember like 2 months ago, I think I talked about edutainment. Educate and entertain simultaneously. Phenomenal reel that Dave created that is straight edutainment. It is hilarious, but it's educating on his product. Right? But in case you guys weren't around, I did post the link to the replay with Dave. I'd encourage you to just go watch the reel in there anyway, just because it's freaking hilarious with the football guys tackling mailboxes and the window licking and everything else that he's got going on in that thing. Hilarious. But in case you weren't around, this is the Dope 360 platform. I'm going to share a few things in here. mine isn't acting normal today. I actually was just talking to Dave not too long ago because I was going to go a little deeper for you guys on some things, but the drip section inside of the Dope 360, this is where I would go with if I was going to launch something for like Chris, Sal, you guys with your probate thing, Kim, if you get this thing built and once it's ready to go, this is where I would I'd come in here and I'd build a new drip campaign, right? And I'm going to put this information in. I can't go too deep because I can't choose a list. This is what's not acting right for me. And it's not letting me upload a list and create a list at the moment on here. But I would create this campaign and this drip campaign, and I'm going to do it over an 8-week or 10-week piece. And what ends up happening when you get into the create a drip piece of this, if I could go there the normal way, it'll ask you, okay, how many touches do you want? What's the time frame spaced out? So I'd do like once a week for 10 weeks. And then it's going to ask, do you want to send, and I think I could show you the options under campaigns here. You guys can see it's popping all kind of errors on me. I just select the day here. So these are the options that are in there. You can either send a single postcard, you can send a handwritten card, you can send a box of cookies, or I could dump in this particular case, could be a drip campaign, but it's single card, handwritten card, or box of cookies. Obviously for this, I'm probably not going to send them a box of cookies, but I am going to do a combination of handwritten cards and single cards. So maybe the very first, part of this 8-week or 10-week drip campaign, it's going to send a postcard. Then next week, it's going to send a handwritten letter. Then the week after that, it's going to send another handwritten letter. Then it's going to send a postcard, right? Something like that. And we'd get creative with the messaging across the board. But you guys understand what the postcard drip piece of this is, right? All of it driving back to this page where this resource is. I've also got the text message, the phone calls, the emails coming out of Lead Vault, in this case, driving to the same thing. Okay. So that's how I would use Dope in this scenario right here. Now, taking it, I don't know what is going on with my settings. They were trying to fix it before the call. So I'm hoping I can show you guys. Let me see. Okay. Now, let's say Kim launches something like this. And actually, Kim, do you have a recent deal that you guys did that you actually saved somebody in the foreclosure or helped somebody through it?
Yeah.
Do you know the address of that property?
It's in St. Louis. It's not, it doesn't matter if it's not in Chicago.
Just give me the address.
Oh, 5825 South Grand Boulevard.
Slow down. 58
Oh, sorry. 25
25
South Grand Boulevard.
Is it South Brand?
No, Grand. As
Grand.
in, yeah, grandeur, grand.
St. Louis?
Mhm.
So I start with, this is what's called neighborhood blitz, right? Kim and Sal, or Kim and Sal, listen to me. Kim and Jean, Onyx Homes, they help somebody at this address, right? And I want to now take that and start a different campaign around that aspect, because if this person was experiencing foreclosure, you think there's a possibility that somebody in and around this person's also experiencing some foreclosure issues? Yeah, right. Now, maybe the foreclosure one isn't going to be the best analogy for this, but I want you guys to see where this is, where I'm going with this, because depending on the avatar, this would be more important than a different one. Okay. So I start with that address, and I can come in here and I can tell this system, hey, I want to target the closest 100. Man, I hope it works. I don't know why it's giving me this permission error. It's not going to work. Dang it. I'll have to explain it. I don't know what is on my settings. So anyway, normally if I click this, one of these, it would pull up the closest 25, 50, 100 residential homes that are owner occupied, not tenant occupied, to it. I can also, and you can see here, because I have it set to single family resident here. Commercial is something they're working on. I could go in and I can do some additional filters to this as well. Damn it, it's not going to do it. Normally what happens when I go into this and I hit apply filters, it pulls up a list of stuff. It'll be like, I own, you can literally start to filter away from size of house, total square footage. You can filter number of bedroom, number of bathroom. You can filter the value of the home. So maybe you kind of know something about this area, taking this pre-foreclosure piece, right? Seems like everybody that owns homes with values of about 800,000 or more, or 500,000 or more, or 200,000 or more are the ones experiencing this problem, or potentially could be experiencing this problem based on what I know of the area, right? So I can say, hey, only target the 50 closest to this house that have a value of 200,000 or more and are X number of square foot or more, because that's the type of property I want. And then I can build an audience list off of this and buy that data from Dope. So it would give me basically, it would come back and go, okay, here's the 100 names or 50 names or 200 names, whatever this number was up here that you click on, or even other, if you decide to manually put, I want 1,000 names. You pay for that data, no different than you would go buy that data from somewhere else. Inside the system, though, it's going to save it as a list, and then I can turn around and go and build a drip campaign around it or build another campaign off of it. But here's what I would play on that one. I know that I helped this person in foreclosure, right? So that the messages or the mailings that are going to come out of this system for this particular campaign is we just help somebody really close to you. I'm not going to put their address or their name, but hey, Onyx Homes, we just saved somebody in your neighborhood from foreclosure. But I'm targeting very close to where I just helped somebody based on parameters that I kind of know could potentially have people that also are experiencing. And again, that's why I said the foreclosure one may not be the best analogy for this, but imagine if you did this same thing with the renovation. All right. I don't know, Kim, did you guys rehab this property, or are you rehabbing this property?
We did. We rehabbed it. It's now a short-term rental.
Okay. Let's get rid of the short-term analogy, right? Let's say you actually rehabbed it and sold this one, or it's up for sale, right? You could, from the time that you closed on it, if we were to backtrack this, when you closed on it and started the renovation, you could have set some parameters and said, hey, the 100 closest people around this property, and blasted one postcard out. And you designed this postcard so you can use the picture of the house and everything, because you know it's going to be coming on the market soon. Hey, we just purchased this home in this neighborhood. Going to be doing a huge renovation to it, blah, 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 coming. And then whenever you think that it's going to be back on the market. And how many of you guys have ever been taught, like, go knock on your neighbor's doors when you're rehabbing a house, tell them about what you're doing because they might know somebody that is looking to buy in that neighborhood? Well, instead of you walking every single door and knocking on it, I could just drop these things into their mailbox through this system. So that's another tool that obviously that doesn't go to this pre-foreclosure campaign that we're talking about, but that's another way that I can use the neighborhood blitz component of this to help market. This is direct mail that I actually enjoy doing because it's targeted and it's automated. I'm not licking envelopes. I'm not making stamps. I'm not all this other stuff, right? I build some parameters, boom, set something, hit create, done. The system handles it all. His print shop handles it all, that kind of thing. But going back to the campaign that we were originally talking about, where's my list right here? I can come in here and I can go upload list, and I'll go as far as it'll allow me to go. Let's do this one here. And no different than I'm mapping for like a CRM. I don't need a phone number. I don't need the email address, street address, All right, city, state, zip, address too, and then if it would allow me to go past this, I can hit finalize upload. Now, I basically brought my own list from my computer, right? A list that I created into this. So I know all those names. I've done my scrubbing, I've done my research, whatever. I've purchased that data from somewhere else, whatever the case is, right? I'm uploading my own list into this. And I can finalize the list, and then I can go over here and I can create different pieces. Whether I'm going to do multi-touch, whether I'm going to hit them one time, whatever the case. The other component behind this was the automations, and that's where it ties into Lead Vault. And some of you guys are using Lead Vault. I don't know. Let me see if I can pull it over. Somebody give me a thumbs up that you can see Lead Vault now. A lot of you, this is my account here, right? But so a lot of you guys are using this opportunities board, right? Well, let's say I wanted to trigger something from, they scheduled this session with me, ignore what this name is, replace that with something in your business. But let's say I wanted to create an automation in Dope that when somebody has a scheduled session with me, and then they met with me, but they're not quite ready, and they're going to go here, boom, I can drop them into this. Well, we can build into Dope 360 platform that right there just triggered something to happen in Dope, meaning a postcard just went out, or maybe a box of cookies just went out to this in the mail to this person to say, hey, thanks for meeting with me. Look forward to maybe helping you in the near future or something like that. Real estate, that could be you move this from whatever to, from under contract to closed, and then boom, it sends a box of cookies or a postcard or something. You see what I'm saying? We can build the automation into your process. So this is another layer on top of the overall campaign. Making sense? Those of you guys that have been around the last few weeks on every one of the calls the last few weeks, this is what we were building up to. Like this, once we know the avatar, once we know what we're trying to achieve, we know the messaging, we know what the outcome is that we're going for. This is that step 5 of really building the machine. Because I'm going to attack it from multi-front and really go omnipresent across it. Good? Thoughts, comments, questions, anything? Kim, does that help give you an idea deeper than what I was able to write back in the messenger?
Yes, because your message was a little vague. Just a
Well,
smidge.
it's a little easier to explain it than
I know, I'm just messing with you.
how many would like to be marketing at this level for your business? Like this is what generates real, pardon my French, real shit. Cool. Well, if nobody's got anything, Jordan, I love the backdrop.
We're slowly putting this office together and making it cool like yours. So wait, I don't even know if you can see the whole. Yeah, there's my ceiling. Nobody cares. Work hard. Say hi to these guys too. These are my plumbing experts. They're getting a free lesson from you right now.
Oh, don't even get me started with that. I just went over what you could do in the plumbing space, man. Are you kidding?
You could kill it. I know. You don't like
that the Dope platform, every job that's completed. Every time you finished a job, you could set a trigger that just fired off a bunch of stuff to like 30 neighbors in the area.
We're going to work on getting him his actual business license first, and then we'll work on the website part of it. January 1st. You're going to need a set. Your wife's going to have to be the secretary. Going forward.
All right. Well, with that being said,